we were getting into character. Okay, Chris.
Chris.
I'm Camilla. I'm Claire. Francis.
I know. Raise your volume up a little bit.
And we are breaking free from stereotypes.
Identity of a person, a thing, a place. Identity. The word itself gives me shivers. It brings a calm, comfort, contentment. What is it? Identity.
To know where you belong.
To know your self-worth.
To know who you are.
How do you recognize identity? We are creating an image of ourselves. We are attempting to resemble this image. Is that what we call identity? The accord between the image we have created of ourselves and ourselves?
Just who is that? Ourselves. We live in the cities. The cities live in us. Time passes.
We move from one city to another, from one country to another. We change languages, we change habits, we change opinions, we change clothes, we change everything. Everything changes, and fast. Image above all.
I'm black, a word from Prom Aces. I'm black because I'm the opposite of white. No, that's not it. I'm black because I was told I have a slave master's last name and I shouldn't eat swine because that's a white man's animal. That's not it either. I'm black because I like to wear jeans that let my underwear breathe and I desire a cuff so it falls right off my boot. No. I'm black because I abbreviate everything from Timberland to Timbo, Polo, Pilo, Style, Stilo, Down Low, D-Low, in which someone had the nerve to label it as blonde. No. I'm black because the only vacation my dad knows is on the weekends. No, I'm black because that's what you see, not who I be. No. If shallow egotistical comparisons were never made, I wouldn't be black. My brother next door wouldn't be white. He'll just be a light-skinned version of me, or I, a dark-skinned version of him. Point taken. So it's a reality propagated by society, set up not biblically to define you and me, but embraced even by Christianity, continuing on this insanity. Distorted as this world's perception may be, who I am and what I am, I thank God because I am black. Not a Genuine Black Man by Brian Copeland. The writer, actor, comedian, radio, and TV talk show host receives hate mail that makes him question his identity and the stereotypes associated with being a genuine black man.
So I look at this envelope, addressed to me, local postmark, no return address. I open it, take out a single typewritten, unsigned letter that reads,
As an African American, I am disgusted every time I hear your voice on the radio because you are not a genuine black man.
I'm not a genuine black man? I'm not a genuine black man? Okay, I'll be honest. I've heard that one before. Actually, people have said that to me a lot throughout my life. Generally, when I hear it, I like to give the intellectual response,
Fuck you!
and then I grab myself and ask,
Is this black enough for your ass?
not a genuine black man? Why do people say that to me? Is it how I talk? Is it the way I dress? Is it how my machine is set to TiVo Frasier? I don't even know what that means. If you're talking about pigment, you can tell by looking at me that I am clearly black. But if you're talking about some cultural delineation, I don't know. I don't talk ghetto, and when I hear the word axe, I think of it as a noun. It's not a verb.
I'm gonna go axe my mother.
Who are you, Lizzie Borden?
Catholic.
Is that black?
I was an altar boy for 5 years.
Apparently, one of the lucky ones.
True story. Not too long ago, a priest I served mass under. I served mass under as a child and was arrested for abusing boys during the time that I was serving under him. My only question is, what was wrong with me? Wasn't I cute? What? Father only wanted the white altar boys?
What kind of racist bullshit is that?
At the very least, it would have been nice to be asked.
Or axed.
I like old Motown,
Hey, that's black.
but I also like the Beach Boys.
That ain't.
I don't believe blacks should be paid reparations for slavery. But if they send me a check, heck, I'll cash it. I'm confused, but I'm not crazy. I can't swim,
That's black.
but I can't play basketball.
I'm not sure that's even male.
I like chitlins, but I call them chitterlings. That's what they're called.
Read the bucket.
Chitterlings. Sounds like a family name.
The chitterlings are coming over for dinner this evening.
Oh man, every time those nasty ass people come over here, they tear up the house.
I love watermelon, but I won't buy one at the store. I refuse. I'm not going to walk up to the clerk at Safeway with a big green melon under my arm.
Hello, Mr. Bennett. I done bought us the dessert.
Not me. Sorry. I don't talk back to the screen at movie theaters.
Now that is definitely a black phenomenon.
Black people, do not delude yourselves into thinking that you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Don't go up in there. He hiding up there. He got a gun in there. He behind the door.
He can't hear you.
I just paid $10 to get in and $79 for popcorn.
Shut the hell up.
I'm a Democrat.
That's black.
I've never understood black Republicans. To me, a black in the Republican Party is like a deer joining the National Rifle Association.
Yes, I'm a deer, but I'm not one of those deer.
Cops think I'm black.
Especially in the suburbs.
Cab drivers think I'm black. Even the ones with the turbans, and that's what I don't understand.
Now let me get this straight. You look like you just crawled out of a cave in Afghanistan with a bomb wrapped around your torso, and you're scared to pick my ass up?
Okay, he's profiling me, just like I'm profiling him. Since 9/11, we're all profiling each other, consciously or unconsciously. We're all doing it. I called the FBI because my daughter got out of the shower with a towel on her head.
It's okay though. They cleared her. Eventually. Not genuine blackmail. What does that mean? What can we do to fight against stereotypes? We can get to know someone for who they really are. Be open-minded about things. Stop prematurely judging people based on their appearances or what other people say. Not all black people are gangsters, and not all white people are rednecks. Not all Asians are cheap, and not all Hispanics are poor. Not all Christians are bigots, and not all Muslims are terrorists. See the faces around you as people, valuable, one of a kind. People can change. Stereotypes can be broken. Under the Overpass by Mike Yankowski is Mike's journey of faith that takes him from a beautiful, affluent Christian college in Santa Barbara to the streets to live as a homeless man. His test is to see if he will still love God when all of his comfort is taken away from him. He checks into a rehab program where only the officials there know that he is not an addict, and adapts to the life of a man in recovery.
I walk over to get the tray off the table in front of another man. He was haggard but had a kind face. When he caught me smiling at him, he sat up straight.
Smile is such an easy thing to give away, don't you think?
A goofy grin spread across his face, showing some remains of his dinner and proving that he didn't own a single tooth. As I worked over the table, I couldn't help but laughing.
You've given away quite a few, haven't you? And I have, son.
His name was Peter.
I was a clown for a long time. But some people didn't like me much, so they knocked out my teeth here and there. Ouch.
I didn't really know how else to respond. Peter shrugged and slurped coffee over his air guns. Then he changed the subject.
How do you like the recovery program here? Woo, it's great. A lot of people here seem to be getting their lives back together. I think I'm going to try and get in here. I've been on the streets too long. Been addicted too long. Been dying too long. Do you think it'll work?
I sat down facing him.
You mean, do I think you can get over your addiction and get on with your life? Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, I'm sure it won't be easy, but yes, I do think you can graduate from this program. You want it bad enough? Yeah, I want it bad enough. The streets are too hard.
The next day, Peter entered the mission early in the morning, going through the same process I had a week earlier. He was assigned a bed a few rows down from me and seemed to be settling in fine, thankful for a space to call his own, a roof over his head, 3 meals a day, Men entering the mission were required to stop using whatever drugs they might be on. Cold turkey. For many, this meant an intense, painful detox period, during which their bodies were learning to live without their chemical dependencies. The agony was almost unbearable just to watch. A few days after we met, I walked past Peter's bed. He was under the covers even though it was a 90-degree day. His entire face was contorted with agony, and he shook uncontrollably, his legs jerking and kicking as he thrashed about. Sweat beaded across his forehead and ran down his neck as his hair was dripping and wet. Alarmed, I knelt beside his bunk, yelling at him if he was okay, if there was anything I could do. But he gave no sign that he heard me. I just stared wildly, unseen, unable to speak. Another rehab member walked past and stopped, only casually interested.
Man, he's coming down hard. Lifetime addict.
I asked if there was anything else I could do.
Nah, he'll be alright. Just gotta let him come down. It hurts, but he'll be okay. He'll wish he never even started using. That can be a good thing.
Peter didn't leave his bed for 2 days. He told me later that he didn't remember me kneeling by his bed or yelling at him. On the third day, though, Peter showed up for breakfast in the cafeteria, looking utterly exhausted, like he had just fought and lost the biggest battle of his life. But he had won. Several men voiced their support when he walked in, and intermittent nods around the room during the meal affirmed for Peter that others understood and were glad he'd made it. They'd all gone through hell, but had, by the Lord's grace, come out ready to change. Peter grabbed his tray of food and set it down on the table next to mine.
It's good to see you. Good to be alive.
Peter said with a toothless smile. He wasn't joking. A couple of years later, Peter and I stood out one night on the mission's fire escape, looking at the Denver skyline rising above the warehouse across the alley. Peter pulled heavily on a cigarette. I stood downwind trying to stay out of the smoke.
Rehab is a tough thing.
How do you mean?
I think it can work, but I don't know. I mean, look, I've been a coke addict for more than 30 years. It's not a drug addiction, it's a lifestyle.
Earlier, when I had met him, I told Peter I believed he could come into the program, get clean, and get on with his life. I realized in that moment how foolish that statement was. Peter needed far more than to get on. He had been a slave to drugs for too long. He needed a path, a new hope, a new life, and a new Lord.
I mean, let's say I do actually graduate. It'd be a miracle, but let's say I pull it off. Who do I have on the outside? All of my friends were addicts. My landlord was my dealer, and I used to smoke crack with my boss. My whole life revolved around coke. Where am I supposed to go when I want to start over?
Peter's question that night has continued to haunt me.
Where should he go?
Rehab is a good start, but a clean life for those men means much more than a simple decision to
Just say no.
A recovering addict has to get clean, then try to build a new life out of the rubble. In the movie, The Shawshank Redemption, one of the prisoners, Red, as he's called, says that men who have been in prison for a long period of time become institutionalized, unable to function in the normal world. They didn't know anything other than a life of crime or drugs before they entered prison. Then, once inside, they became dependent on the structure that prison provides. Once they get out, they're set up to land right back in prison because they were never free.
What lay ahead for Peter?
I leaned back against the fire escape that night, wondering what the God of love had to do with all this. Christ offers us real freedom, eternal freedom in Him. Jesus says in Luke 4 that He came to proclaim liberty for the prisoners. I sat there feeling a weighty yet wonderful truth. Some bonds in life can only be broken by Christ.
Peter,
I said slowly, still thinking through what I was going to say.
I believe it is possible for you to get clean and for you to graduate, but you're probably not going to be able to do that alone. You were trapped inside your lifestyle. You just said that. I think that means your only hope is outside of you, outside of your situation. You see, Christ only can set you free. Let His power work in you. Otherwise, Your best attempts will leave you right where you started.
Yeah, everyone here keeps talking about that. Maybe for once, I should listen.
The life of a recovery addict proceeds one moment, one decision at a time.
There is always hope. Freedom from bondage is attainable. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere.
Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit, he took the midnight train going anywhere.
Working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill. Some will win, some will lose. Some are born to sing the blues. Oh, the moon never ends. It goes on.
On.
And on.
And on.
So...